I'm getting ready to do my edge retention test on this Manix 2, and I did want to get a starting score and an ending score on this best tester, just in case that's relevant to you guys. I don't usually do this, but I think it is reasonable to try to get a starting and ending score. Refer to my rope cardboard testing overview video for more information. I mentioned the downfall of a best tester like this is that you're supposed to use this fulcrum. My edge retention testing kind of focuses on this portion of the blade here, roughly. And best tester is going to try to take a reading behind that, because I need to put it in the fulcrum. Even if I put it way at the end of the fulcrum, not sure that I can get a reading where I'm going to be using this knife blade. So I'm going to try not to use the fulcrum, because I think the dullest part of my knife is going to be up here. So I'm going to do a reading without the fulcrum. .140, as you saw, I just clanked my edge into the thing. That's another problem with this system. The fulcrum would have prevented that from happening, but that was my starting score, 140. There's no damage to this thing that I can tell, but that did hit this plate, so that's a problem. So instead of what I did, clearly, if I'm going to be using this tool for my edge retention testing and I need to test the tip of this thing, I need to put the blade in the fulcrum and push, then I can slide it like this to line it up where I need it, and can push at the tip, wherever I need. So that's the way I'll have to do that. Just go like this carefully, and hopefully that will at least be more accurate and keep me from smacking my blade into this thing. I think that's better than trying to make padding around here or whatever, so I think that'll be more viable. I'll have to try it next time. Okay, here's where the knife is at to start. Cycle 1. I'm going to do cycles of 50 cuts. Now I do 50 cuts on this cardboard. Okay, sorry I couldn't film more of that. I have the camera mounted on my table and it's really shaking when I do it, so I'm gonna show you where the edge is at and I'm gonna move my camera. Anyway, so I've done one cycle of 50 cuts on rope and cardboard. So cycle 1, 50 cuts. Still just gliding through that paper. Cycle 2. cycle 3. This thing is showing no signs of dulling at all. Still going. I think we're getting close. Yeah, it's starting to feel duller, but it's still really thin up there at the apex. But I think we're good enough on the paper to do one more cycle. Pretty good. We're gonna keep going. Okay, I've just finished the 9th cycle of 50. That still feels pretty good. It's still sharp. Not really any teeth left. But let's see where we're at. It's getting very close. Definitely right there is getting close to having a problem. But I think, yeah, we're gonna call it there. So 9 cycles of 50 cuts. This is me proofreading my work. That's 450 cuts. The note that I made there at the 300th cut was that I noted the knife lost some bite.
through the rope. I could tell that as I was cutting the rope. I could feel that.
So now I try to test to see if the knife can go further on what I call the working edge. For more information on this, refer to my edge retention testing overview. So I think this paper cuts differently than catalog paper. So if the knife can cut this paper, the test will continue on 1/2 inch rope and same cardboard we were cutting. If the knife can't continue, then the test stops here. So if it can cut this paper, test will continue on 1/2 inch rope. It's gonna be close. I think we can all agree that's a no. Having the same snag in similar areas as the other one, so this knife, this is the area that it wasn't tested. Obviously it's still very sharp here. So the test stops here. This knife did 450 cuts with no cuts on the working edge.
Final score, 450 cuts on rope and cardboard. The following knives were also tested some time ago on their factory edges. This is a Manix lightweight in M4 steel. This is a Blade HQ exclusive. I erroneously said this was a Knife Center one in my initial impressions. That's not correct. I tested this knife some time ago, and now I'm going to compare the results today with this. When I tested this knife, it got 350, then 10 cuts on the working edge or 1/2 inch rope for a total of 360 cuts on rope and cardboard. The Military 2 in 15V, when I tested it, got 200 cuts, then 110 on the working edge or 1/2 inch rope for a total of 310 cuts on rope and cardboard, approximately a third of which were on the working edge or 1/2 inch rope. After the test, I do a best check again on this knife using the same method I did before, just doing it freehand without the fulcrum, just to keep these two results comparable to each other.
Again, I don't think this system is the best way to measure sharpness or dullness for my knives on my testing, but I'll do this anyway just so you guys can see what we're at. There you go, 216.
So after the test, I attempted to strop the knife back to something close to what the starting sharpness would have been. This is common. We do this after testing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If the knife does not successfully come back with just the strop, then we will run it on a ceramic a few times and then strop it. In this case, my attempts to strop it were unsuccessful. The knife did not get nearly as sharp as it did to start. So I use this ceramic rod, just kind of freehand, trying to maintain roughly the same angle from the factory. This is the rod from the Work Sharp guided field sharpener.
Like nothing. Dang it, can't get it to show up. It's popping hairs off like crazy.
As always, thanks for watching.